All right, we're live now. This is Kiyahuitl, and today's guest is. You'd like to
Sean.
introduce yourself?
My name is Shanclen. Everybody, Yat A Shanclen Yinishe. I come from the Diné Nation. More specifically, I come from a place called Black Mesa in northern Arizona. And my clans are Ashin Ishlin, Ado Bilagana Bushichin, Ash Ada Shiche, Ado Bilagana Ada Shanella. So those a little bit where I come from. I'm half Navajo, half white. So but grew up on the reservation with my mother and everything. So yeah, have a lot of cool interactions and everything being on the res and stuff, want to do social media and everything. So yeah, it's pretty little bit about who I am and where I come from.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I wasn't really. Hopefully, you don't take offense, but I wasn't really aware of your like existence on social media, right? But to
Yeah,
be honest with you, like I don't really look for people very much anymore because
yeah,
I had my own experiences trying to have
mhm,
find like community online.
yeah.
And it wasn't a great experience, so I just said to myself, I was like, "I gotta stick to alone,"
Yeah,
and,
dude, that's
and
like exactly kind of like how I am too. It's just like there's especially when it comes to like social media and influencers. Like I've had my bad experiences, like collabing with people, and it's just like I didn't have a good experience, so I'm just gonna stick to myself. But yeah, it's my you reached out to me and everything, and I was just like, I never seen your platform before too, and I was just like, hell yeah, this is really cool.
yeah, yeah. So what I initially do is, share Nahuatl,
Mhm.
but I share a variant that was basically in non-existence. I mean,
Mhm.
the language Nahuatl exists, but there's so many modern variants. The
Yeah,
variant that I practice was, like, from the 1500s, so it's where somewhat, close to what my ancestors spoke in the manner they spoke,
yeah,
and I kinda wanna be inspire people to try to learn the old way to speak Nahuatl.
Mhm. That's cool,
Yeah,
man.
so, that's what I do, and then also, every now and then, I get into some controversial topics.
Yeah. Got to speak your mind on the world, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I usually, speak about colorism and amongst the quote unquote Mexican community
yeah,
or Latino community and etc. And
that's cool.
it's definitely I imagine it to be a different experience for
Yeah,
people that are come from like a federal recognized indigenous group
yeah.
and stuff like that. But yeah, I wasn't really, like I said, I wasn't aware of your content, and until somebody say, "Hey, why don't you do an interview with this Dinesh videographer?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "I'm down." I'm like, I don't like I don't care who it is. I just want genuine people, like
Yeah. Yeah, my
to have a
content,
conversation with.
it's like my content is like sporadic. It's like everywhere, like my brother, we grew up on the Navajo reservation, and my older brother, he was a medicine man of our tribe. So he would kind of specialize in, I guess you say, more so of the darker side of things, I guess you can say. So
Mhm,
so he was trained up and all that stuff, and I was his helper. So he was chosen at the age of 13 years old to start learning all that stuff. And so I started following him around when I was like 13, 14 years old as well. Going to
mhm.
like the lesser kind of dark places and everything. But yeah, we did that for, geez, I would say like 10, 15 years, I'd say. And so one day I was like, why don't we just start a YouTube channel, and just like, because we grew up watching like Ghost Adventures and Ghost Hunters and all that stuff, TV shows, and it's like never really, they always miss kind of the respect side of when interacting with spiritual beings and deities and stuff.
Mhm.
So that's one thing we wanted to, I guess you can say, portray in our channel. And so we
Yeah.
wanted to be able to show people like a different side of interacting with these beings and stuff. So him and I, we went our separate ways, and now I created my own channel and everything. So I do stuff like, like storytelling videos of like of our tribe. I have videos of like, I recently got this Polynesian mix with a Navajo
Mhm.
tattoo right here. did a video on that, on their culture. And that's, in a sense, what I want to try to do is go to different cultures and have them tell their stories, pretty much have them tell their point of view on how they see the world, how they interact with the world, be one with the world kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because that was one thing I used to do a lot is I used to travel for my first job to a bunch of different tribes to install solar panels. So that was really cool. That I loved about that job was like interacting with different tribes and hearing their stories, hearing their things. And we're all not that much different, you know. It's always pretty
Yeah,
awesome
yeah.
how we view the world and stuff. So that's where I translated that into my channel that I have. So it's going to be like I talk about some paranormal stuff, like my past experiences and
Yeah, yeah,
things
yeah.
I've seen and stuff like that. And I also go into it as far as for trying to tell stories of other tribes too at the same time.
So I guess one of the viewers have a question for you. It might have, I don't know if you can. You don't have to necessarily answer it, but if you feel comfortable to do so.
Oh yeah,
Says Statics the Barbarian.
hell yeah.
Does
That's cool
homie
name.
get treated differently for being a half breed?
Sorry.
I know that could be a heavy question for some people, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I especially in the younger years, I would have to say, growing up, you try, being friends with natives, but then they find out you're half white, and then they're like, "Oh hell no!" Like you go play with the white kids, and then like the white kids, you go over there, I look native, and then they're like, "Oh no, you can't play with us because you're native and stuff like that." So growing up, that's where I think it's a blessing, kind of growing up half white, half native like that, is because you learn the story of both sides. You get to be able to talk with the both groups and find that understanding of why do you hate white people or why do you hate native people, and you get to hear both sides of that certain things. So now that I'm older, it's I've come to find out it's more of a blessing than it is kind of a curse, kind of growing up and everything.
Yeah, yeah. It's kind of someone different for me. From my experience was definitely different.
Hmm.
Um, I grew up in a small city town called Santa Barbara,
Yeah.
California, and it's primarily white and Mexican, or
Hmm.
people of like indigenous heritage, but they
Yeah.
just identify as quote unquote Mexican primarily.
Hmm.
Um, um, yeah, my experience was definitely different. Like it was, I was getting mocked for being too dark, or like
Yeah.
a lot of the times growing up, I had a lot of people tell me, "Oh, you're black, you're not Mexican, or you're
Yeah.
this." Like I was always kind of like exiled because of the skin complexion of my skin and facial structures or whatever.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, and it's been a different experience for me, at least for the most part, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, kind of growing up with
And
with all that, it's like it's there's like I remember when I was growing up as a teenager, it was one of those things that I could either embrace it or kind of always hate, all that side, because, growing up native, the atrocities and shit that white people did to native people and stuff like that and stuff they did to the land.
yeah,
And you just got to learn how to find peace with both of those, kind of growing up with that. We were all, me and all my siblings were made with love, and then both sides of the family. I really love about my dad and his side of his family is they really accepted us growing up in the native culture. They were very really accepting of that. We used to go to church when we were smaller and everything, but as we grew older, we were like, my dad asked us, he's like, "Do you guys feel comfortable going to church? Like, do you guys not want to go anymore?" And we just said, we just kind of don't really fit in with it. It's not,
yeah, yeah. It's
and
I get, it's funny that you say that because I felt that way growing up too. My parents were we were my family was a Catholic family,
yeah.
but not really a devoted
Hmm.
Catholic, so to say. You know, they just say they're Catholics, but in actuality, I don't think they really like have that devotion for it. But
Yeah.
even then, when we would go to the times that we had gone to church, like I'm just like nah, like I don't know,
Yeah.
something within myself,
Yeah.
like
It's
this
just
ain't
like
for me,
it,
this ain't for
it
me, this
it's
ain't
it
it, like you know.
Yeah, because like I used to grow up because I grew up going to church and going to like our traditional ceremonies and stuff, and like it really seemed like, the one thing that kind of really didn't make sense to me was the difference of you go to church one day out of the week and you pray and you do that, but when you go to indigenous culture, it's prayer every day. Like in our tribe, it's more so of every day is a prayer. You walk your prayer. You have to walk in beauty and everything, and you don't need to go to like a certain type of building or a certain type of day to be able to pray to the creator or whoever you pray to and everything. You don't need to do that. You can do that anywhere, wherever you want to, if you're ever feeling down or anything like that. And we would have ceremonies like that, and it always felt more soothing instead of kind of forced on us. It was always more, the cultural side of things was like taught of love, and yeah, there were some taboos and things you don't do and everything like that, and kind of seemed like the church was like, oh, you do this, you're going to hell or damnation and all this other stuff. And it's just like, in our tribes we don't have that, or at least my
Yeah.
tribe, we don't have that. We have, there's the taboos and things happen to you, then you go see a medicinal man or a medicine man to get you fixed and put back into
Mhm.
balance and stuff. But there's never
Yeah,
really anything of damnation.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Knowing that you have had experience with the church and you having your experience with your indigenous roots, obviously,
Yeah.
um, whenever you had or the times that you had experience, I guess, quote unquote, paranormal
Yeah.
activity or whatnot, like, do you initially think like, oh, this is a like a demon, or what is your like your natural instinct tell you? If you
So
care to share, obviously.
yeah, for sure. Growing up, like at first, like a lot of paranormal shit used to kind of happen at ceremonies, like when we would like interact with spiritual deities or beings.
Hmm.
You would see certain things that would just not make sense, but it's just like the elders would teach you like, hey, this is a spiritual being that's here at this ceremony that's going to give you blessings and stuff. And when
Yeah,
it gave us blessings, I would get chills and feel good and everything like that. So, but like if you were to go to the church, they'll say that's the devil. There's only God, the God,
yeah,
angels,
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah,
demons and stuff. There's no really in between or anything. It was always kind of like the black and white kind of thing, and it's just like
yeah,
there's no gray in between. So kind of growing up, like that's where a lot of, I guess you can say, the separation started to happen, was like, there is a lot more stuff that's out there. So kind of growing up and starting to learn the ways through my brother and everything, there's a lot of stuff that's out there, so many different types of beings and deities that are out there, and
yeah,
good,
yeah,
there's good and bad. There's one thing on my journey I've learned is each race, each religion, each faith, from beginning of time to now, there's beings, and even in the cosmos too, there's so many different types of spiritual deities that are out there.
yeah. No, I strongly agree. Some of the things that my ancestors that spoke of, that I know a little of, is that there was definitely deities that were not necessarily good or nor bad.
Hmm.
Some would give you fortune, others obviously misfortune.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, it's etc. And some of them would just do things to kind of like mock, mock,
Yeah.
like mock you.
Kind of like a
Uh,
trickster kind of spirit.
yeah, kind of like
Yeah.
that. Like it was just more for that thing to have an amusement off of you,
Yeah.
whatever that whatever experience you had. Like it's just kind of crazy to
And there's
think.
always like a story and a teaching behind each one of those too, which is pretty cool and amazing. Like there's always like a different way of interacting with these deities and these spiritual beings and stuff. And that's one thing I loved about, growing up and just being able to, be able to sit and talk with these spirits and everything, which was really
Mhm.
awesome.
So we got a question right here by Joshua Flores. What would you say to someone looking to discover what tribe they descend from in Mexico? Um, Hunk, Hunkpapa, Lakota, and Southern Indigenous. If you get the time, Cola. I don't know. Uh, well, it's a little bit more challenging for people from the south of the border, but it still is possible. But mainly,
Mhm.
you have to do a genealogy based on where you might have gotten your southern indigenous heritage, um, and just do a lot of research. Is going to be a difficult task, but it's doable as long as you have the time for it.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. It's like I'm blessed to know like my family's lineage that goes way back. Like we have stories of people that like, okay, your great grandfather lived here, great great grandfather lived over here. We drive through the res and like this is where our clan descended from. This is where we were here at this certain time period. Then we relocated here, kind of thing. So
Yeah,
and I always feel for people that like they don't have that connection, like they weren't born with that stuff, and so whether they had like a grandfather or an elder that was of indigenous descent and they passed away and they passed before they can pass on those teachings of where they came from, I always kind of feel bad for those people because it's always going to be a hard journey to reconnect that
yeah.
way with it.
I kind of have a little bit of a question on your the clans, like
Yeah,
how it works, because in like Mesoamerica, a lot of the times we would identify it like a being, a person, obviously,
yeah.
based off of their location where they came from.
Hmm.
Like my pueblo's town, or my pueblo is, which is a very small poverty community.
Yeah.
It's called Acayawalco, and which is a Nahuatl phrase indicating like a place of where there's an abundance of reeds.
Hmm.
Um, so if in the Mesoamerican times, if would have to identify as like, oh, I'm a Nakayawakat, saying that I'm a person of this location, but it
Yeah.
wasn't necessarily like a clan. It wasn't. It was just
Yeah.
you're just a person of that place,
Hmm.
or you're associated of that place. But
Yeah.
in Tenochtitlan, so which since it was a bigger, I guess, sort of say, as a city at the time, or a
Hmm.
city state, amongst there, they kind of had like a clan thing going on, but they would call them capoli, which means big house.
Yeah.
And then in each big house, they had a calle, which is the head of the house.
Yeah.
But based on this capoli, it would be identified as different things, and it would be also different teachings into either warrior or to like philosophy, etc. It's like a
Yeah.
school basically.
Mhm.
But I don't know if I would consider that to be like a clan.
Mhm. So more so the clan system, more in I'm only going to be speaking of like the Diné tribe, the Navajo tribe,
Hmm.
and I don't even know the full story 100% of that. But when we were created and put on this world, there were certain clans that were created, and when we were put on this earth, and each clan, I guess, had its own, I guess you could say, role to play inside of, on the lands that we were chosen to take care of. And so, say like the Salt Clan, we come from an area of kind of similar to how you were saying, is there was a lot of like salt rock around and everything. And so we had our own certain songs and ceremonies that we had to take care of. And then my grandfather's clan, he is of the Red Cheek people. So the Red Cheek people, that's what it translates out to, is the Ashe clan. And so they all had like their own specific, I guess, duties and ceremonies they had to partake and take care of, I guess, inside of their lineage. So there's four clans. So there's your mother's clan, then there's your father's clan, and then there's your father's clan, and then there's your mother's father's clan. So and then they also do that for the gene pool too. So like
Hmm.
like you can't date or marry somebody who is of the same clan because there's, in a sense, your cousin. So to kind of make sure that you don't marry or get with your cousin or anything like that too. So I guess
Yeah,
that's,
yeah.
yeah, that's another reason why we have the clan system and everything here too. So I do know like other tribes, they have the clan system too as well. You go
It's
to the
kind of
Hopi.
funny that you mentioned about incest breeding or whatever breeding with
Yeah,
amongst each other is my pueblo usually doesn't date within the community.
yeah,
They either date like the neighboring community as well
hmm,
or somewhere a little bit more farther, but they never really necessarily date amongst the
yeah,
same place just
yeah,
because kind of a little like
yeah.
you know what I mean? Like you
Dating
might
your
end up
family and
dating a
everything.
distant relative, you didn't even know.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
that's like one of those things. It's just like, whenever you meet somebody, you talk with them, and especially if they're of your tribe, it's like one of the first questions you always ask are like, "What's your clans?" Before we even continue this, like, because I don't know
yeah,
if I should be flirting with
'cause
you
it,
or
it,
I should treat you as a
it
friend
has
kind of
happened.
thing.
It has happened to me where I'm
Yeah.
over here, trying to be Rico Suave or Mac Daddy of the year, and then I end up finding out that this person is a distant cousin from a different pueblo.
Oh no.
Like, oh shit! Like it's like I was like, oh yeah, I didn't even know, but
It's like, "Hey, what's
it
up, fam?"
happens. It happens.
Yeah, dude. So that's like one of the main reasons why, like clans would have like certain ceremonies and songs, and also for dating kind of thing, as one of the main reasons why we had the clan system.
Oh, sorry about that. I have a uninvited guest.
Yeah, it's all good.
And one of my brother just showed up right now. It was my nephew's birthday of the 4th, and
Oh, happy birthday to him.
they just came over right now, and I'm over here trying to like, try to attend you, obviously,
Happens all the time to me, man. I like all my siblings will just show up out of nowhere and be like, "Hey, I'm recording," kind of thing.
like fuck off.
I'm trying to do this. I'm speaking to the people.
Yeah, hell yeah. Let's see if we have any more questions. I mean, oh, okay. So the question is, for the guest for you, meaning, what do you think of the meaning behind Thanksgiving in your eyes?
Ooh. So, as a kid, you
You don't have
think,
to answer. If you don't have knowledge of it, it's all right.
yeah,
I
like,
admit that I don't. I'm like I don't know shit about that.
yeah. I'll just like speak of like my experience and stuff, like, because I don't know the full story exactly of what happened, because like I recently found out because of social media. Like you grew up in
Yeah,
school and you're taught in school, oh, the pilgrims came and they were happy with the natives, and everybody lives in harmony and stuff. So we thank each other from different races and for all this land. But social media, come to find out, and then those tribes that were over there where it actually happened told the true story. Is like, nah, that's not what
yeah,
happened. Like the story that I remember faintly is that they came, they took the land, they massacred the tribe that was over there, stole all their goods and stuff, and they said, thank you for the land and the food and
mhm,
everything. And so
yeah.
that's why I was like
It's a little
Thanksgiving.
something what I've heard too. I'm not all that educated on the manner,
Hmm.
uh, but I heard that like the indigenous group actually assisted them to survive,
Yeah.
uh, within the land that,
Hmm.
and then eventually they were just like, we're gonna get rid of these people.
Yeah.
Like
That's like one thing is like, a lot of people talk about like how like you guys had the home field advantage and you guys still lost to like the people that were colonizing the land and everything. Is like, bro, the main thing
yeah,
that took out native people was disease.
yeah,
Disease was
yeah,
the main thing that
yeah.
took
All
out.
that disease. I mean, look, like we had experienced COVID, right? Like
Mhm.
how fast that shit just traveled all up and down the world,
Yeah.
and how it affect everybody when a new virus or disease is presented. So imagine having foreigners from Europe or whatever place they came from coming in to a new land where the indigenous people didn't have to deal with those
Mhm.
uh, diseases or
Didn't
health
have like
issues.
the right herbs or built up the immunity for it,
Yeah, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Like, of course, it was gonna be very deadly, even, even
Yeah.
if it might have been the chicken pox, it's still
Yeah.
deadly, but it's just that now we obviously have built, some immunity and then have obviously a vaccine or medicine for it, but
Yeah. That's like
back
one of those
then.
things. It's just like, they used to have like chemical warfare in a sense. Like they used to have like blankets that had smallpox on them. And like the
Mhm.
tribes that were around, they would go send traders over there, give them the blankets that had smallpox and get them all sick and they would all die kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, that's definitely bio warfare for sure.
For real.
Whe
But like,
whether it was intentional or unintentional, it happened
mm,
regardless, and then obviously it affected the indigenous population of these lands, all up and
yeah,
down the Americas, from the
mhm,
Caribbean to Mexico, South,
everywhere.
everywhere.
Yeah.
So,
But
I
like,
mean, we see like I said, we just lived through COVID, like, imagine that
yeah.
at those times.
But we didn't have like no vaccines or any medicines or like
Mhm.
even knowledge of how to 6 foot distance away, kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
We didn't
Like,
really
there
have
were
any of that.
shit's crazy.
Yeah, but like,
Let me see, we got
at least for me nowadays, Thanksgiving, I know that stuff happened, but like I see Thanksgiving as just a time to have family around, give an excuse for family to come together and stuff, and
mhm.
still have stuff. We don't celebrate it for like the the actual origins of
Yeah,
Thanksgiving and stuff, but
it's a
like,
little similar for me as well. Like, we
yeah,
don't necessarily celebrate it for the initial, like, festive thing,
yeah,
but we do enjoy any excuse to gather together as a family,
yeah,
you know? Whether
100%.
it's Christmas, whether it's Halloween, whether it's Thanksgiving or birthdays, we just
Yeah.
like, we just waiting for that excuse,
So
just to
we
gather up.
make some good food and hang out with everybody.
Hell yeah, I enjoy that 10 times,
Mhm.
over anything else.
Yeah,
Being
that's
ar
how I am
being
too.
being around your loved ones and trying to appreciate the moment,
Mhm.
trying to enjoy it because obviously life is fast, man, you know,
Yeah,
and it's just some of us are gonna be here for the long road, and others and have the misfortune, I suppose.
yeah.
We're
That's
here
one thing.
we're here for a blink of an eye.
Yeah, that's one thing my grandpa always tells me. He's just like, he got after me one time. He was always like, "Hey, like every time you come up here, you see me, come shake my hand and say hi, because
Nah.
you never know. Like next time you visit, I might not be here, kind of thing. So every time you go
Well,
visit
before
somewhere."
hey, wanna know something? Before we answer this question right here that we got
Mhm.
for you, my people never said bye.
Yeah.
There in our language, there's no goodbye, or, like, it was
Mhm.
usually the farewellness was more so of, like, "I'll see you later,"
Mhm.
or "Come back to me."
Yeah.
Those were, like, the phrases that, were being said back
Yeah.
then. There was no
Yeah.
there wasn't, like, no, like, "I'll see," like, "Bye,"
Yeah.
like, there was no such thing as that. It was, usually, "I'll see you later." So you
Mhm.
could say, like, "Sate pa ni mitsitas." So I'll see you later,
Yeah.
or, uh,
Same with us. It's like,
"Shi
it's always "I'll see you again." Like Hagone is like pretty much farewell, "I'll see you again," in our tribe, in our
yeah,
language. So it's
or
like,
"Shimokwepa," like, it's
mhm,
return to me. You
yeah.
know, if somebody had to go somewhere else, come back to me. So
Mhm.
it's like things like that those were like the farewellness or whatnot.
Yeah.
But to answer the question, are people allowed to enter the Navajo reservation, or do they have to be invited to enter?
You can go in there. It's just, I'm not too sure you're gonna know where to go, kind of thing. Like we more so of the
I
border. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I mean, would that be kinda weird? Like, what the fuck? This person just heard
Yeah.
in the neighborhood?
Yeah, he's just like just
What
driving
is that?
around and everything. Like we have like some tourist towns and everything. Like Page, Arizona is really known for like Horseshoe Bend Monument, and just other towns like that that have like national monuments and stuff. Like kind of touristy towns. Like you can go there, hang out and stuff. But like if you go like middle of the res, like it's one of those things that you can go there, but I don't know what you're gonna do. There's not really much
Yeah,
to do there
just
for.
cruising pretty much, like, you
Yeah.
just patrolling the reservation, like, you
You're
don't
gonna
know
have all.
anybody in there or, like,
Yeah, it's just like have somebody be like, "The fuck's that truck doing over there, man?"
Yeah,
Everyone's
yeah,
just kind of
yeah,
looking
yeah.
at you and everything. But yeah, like you can go there. Like I think it's the Hopi tribe is more so the one because like the Hopi tribe is like inside of the Navajo Nation and stuff. So like they're more closed off, I guess you can say, from outsiders. I know that they're invite only. I had a best friend growing up that was Hopi and everything, and so he would invite me over to some of their basket dances and stuff they had over there and everything, and it was really cool. So
Yeah,
but they
I,
do that. They do that to kind of make sure that the culture isn't exposed, I guess, to Western society, kind of thing.
mhm. Now I don't know if you're the person to ask this question to, but I remember a while back, probably sometime last year or something. I seen this video of a Hopi. He's actually I guess mixed with Dene
Mhm.
and Hopi, right? And but this what was intriguing to me in this video was that he was saying that the Dene were trying to like wipe him out or something like that, or like some crazy.
Yeah,
I mean, it wasn't crazy. He was. I don't even know how to really describe, but he was pretty much kind of like we're getting fucked, like beat up from
yeah,
everywhere, and
mhm,
we're over here getting somewhat like outbred from
yeah.
their community or some shit like that. And I
So
was just like, damn.
there
Is that like
is
the truth?
like
Is there like actual conflict between Hopi and the neck, or is it
yeah.
just?
Yeah, like so growing up, that's one thing I kind of learned is there's been a lot of like land disputes between the two tribes. Like,
Mhm,
like this is our land, this is where our border draws, and this is ours and everything. And so like I remember there was a time, it was during my grandparents' time when the Hopis drew their land, their border a little bit out more, and I guess they got that land, and so the Navajos that were on that land, the Navajo Nation ended up relocating all those people.
mhm.
There was one lady that refused to leave because like that's where her people her family used to live all the time, and she was a resistor. So like whenever like Bureau of Indian Affairs or the police used to show up, she would always have like her rifle and just shoot at them. And then she's just like,
Damn. I
she
mean, she kinda has the right, yeah, if
yeah.
it's kinda there's a similar story to where my family's from,
Mhm,
Kiyahuitl, in the
mhm,
neighboring, town. It's not a Nahuatl name. They call themselves, Santa Teresa, which
mhm.
is like Saint Teresa is the
Yeah,
pueblo's name. So, obviously, we got a indigenous community, while the other one is more of like, trying to, quote, unquote, "be more civilized" or whatever.
yeah.
So, in our region, between our 2 pueblos or between those 2 pueblos is that, there's a water spring
Mhm,
where water is just birth, and it's, we call it, in Spanish, we call it el ojo de agua, which
mhm.
means it means in English, the eye of the water
Yeah,
or the water of the eye or something like that. And so the people from the other pueblo, which is like double or 3 times bigger than ours, was just like I don't for whatever reason, the young men and women were like, "Yo, that water spring is ours."
yeah,
And then so there was like doing this crazy like campaign trying to like claim that water spring,
yeah.
and all the elders from that village or
Mhm.
pueblo knew that water spring was not theirs, that it was actually ours.
Yeah,
But the young people didn't care, so they tried to actually go over there. They actually went there and started for whatever reason started to chop down the young trees.
yeah,
And my people, well, my elders from our town went over there with their machetes. Both had
yeah,
obviously machetes, and they pretty much like said like the next mother flower that cuts the a tree, he's gonna die right there and then, like, you know.
yeah.
And so not so they didn't continue cutting the trees.
Mhm.
My people planted new ones, but after that they had to get the I forgot some politician amongst the state to like to pretty much tell the other people, be like, "Yo, this is their
Yeah.
land.
Mhm,
This water spring pertains to Acayawalco."
mhm.
But what's funny is that apparently that person too said that our territory actually goes into their fucking town. So so now it was kind of like there was like we could keep the shit, like, but this is
Yeah,
still our
yeah,
land. But our
yeah,
land actually goes into their town, but we're like, you know?
yeah. Yeah, we'll
Like,
keep our water, you keep your town, like, so this is
yeah,
supposed to be ours, but you keep that if you let us keep this, kinda
yeah,
things.
but so I that's why I kinda related to what you were saying, like the territory disputes and stuff like
Yeah,
that, like, and how crazy sometimes people take it
yeah,
to the extremities and shit, and I
yeah,
understand, like,
mhm.
it's like, what the f like, this shit's been in our village for hundreds of years, and you're over here
Yeah.
trying to, like,
Just take
it's
it, and then
crazy.
that was, like, one thing is just, like, that was more so of a thing that happened with, like, my grandparents' generation, and so, like, they grew up and stuff, and, like, he ended up becoming one of my best friends who was Hopi, and so it was funny because, like, whenever I would take him to, like, my great-grandmother's homestead or anything, they're like, "Oh,
Mhm.
is he Hopi?" And then they would kinda get, like, a little stare at him, and then vice versa, whenever I would go to Hopi, they're like, "Oh, is he Navajo?" They would kinda give me, like, a mean glare, but, like, him and I were just like, "Fuck it," that's like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's, like, your guys' thing that you guys fought over and everything, like, everything's settled and all that stuff, so it's just like,
Yeah, yeah,
why should I hate him for that, We didn't
yeah,
do
that
anything.
village in our village never my village and the other village, Santa Teresa, like, there's always been a prolonged rivalry,
Yeah.
and what's crazy is that most of us that came up here up north were obviously to California, since we're over here in Chumash land,
Mhm.
um, we get along here, but when we're back home, we're it's kinda like go back to, like, where we were at.
Kinda
There
beefing
there's
and
there's
everything.
there's friendship and all, but there's still that grudge about
Yeah.
the water spring,
Yeah.
so
I
sometimes when
wanna
we don't talk about that, like, when we're here in town, like, here we're together in Santa Barbara, like, when we avoid talking about that water spring because it's just kinda like, "Nah, that's" there's still people that be like, "No, that's ours," and like, "What the heck?" Like,
Yeah. That's, like,
it's
one thing,
just
it's like, it's still there, and it really depends on, like, who you speak to, like, for me, like, I put that aside, it's just, like, people are people, like, the people that, like, decided to do this stuff are, like, old or gone kinda thing,
yeah,
and it's
yeah.
just like,
Yeah, the ones that is still saying, like, "That's ours," these are, like, people that are older than me.
yeah,
They're, like, double my age, but I hang around with these old guys from my region just 'cause I enjoy their company 'cause, like, it
yeah.
reminds me of my youth growing up as a little kid, seeing these guys,
Mhm.
in their 30s or 40s and shit, and I'm over here now kicking it with the old men, the
Yeah.
old wise men,
Yeah.
supposedly.
I'm getting there too. So, but that's like one of those things. It's just like, it's very interesting that like when you go down the line of the ancestry and the generations, it's interesting to see their mindsets of where they're at. That's one thing I loved about interacting with my great grandmother. She ended up living to be like 104, 105.
Yeah.
And she came up to me and she spoke to me in Navajo. She never learned English, and she came down to visit from the reservation to us, and she asked me, she's just like, grandson, when are we, or great grandson, when are we going to go dancing? That's
Yeah.
like that was like one of the things that she loved to do when at her time and everything. She grew up in the wagon age of like, when people go to town, they would still have horse and wagons kind of thing. So it's
Mhm.
pretty interesting to see like how far time has come.
Yeah, so I'm gonna this is a question that I got for you, have you ever heard of Nawali? A Nawali?
I've seen it in my comments. Is that a shapeshifter?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
I
I thought it was kinda, like, intriguing that, like, in the neck obviously, yeah, it has the skinwalker,
Yeah.
and it's who knows if it's I don't think it's exactly the same, but it's almost the similarities, obviously.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um,
Well, I
um
want you to tell me your version because, like, you're the first person that I'm actually having a conversation that I would have knowledge of this, and I see it in my comments all the time. They're like, because
yeah.
I speak about, like, the skinwalkers and we call them in our language Yanagloshis, the jump in the skins,
Groceries?
Yanagloshis, yeah. So
Okay.
Me talking about
Uh,
might show up. So if you hear my dogs barking, just
no worries.
yeah. But go ahead and tell me about your guys's.
Well, the little that I know about it
Mm,
is that older, only men can shapeshift in our community.
mhm.
Old men, like, it's not really known for a woman to shapeshift as a Nawali,
Yeah.
but it's usually people that shapeshift with their, like, animalistic side of them.
Mhm.
So it could vary from many things. It could be from an owl to a jaguar to whatever, you know?
Yeah.
Though I wanna think that in time, it kinda just changed because of the corruption of Catholicism and the
Yeah.
influences of that. It kinda, like, made that experience into a negative aspect, but
Yeah.
I think it was just somebody that got to a point where they were so in tune with themselves and Earth and and the animal kingdom, so to say, that they
Yeah.
were had the eligibility to do so.
Mhm.
But I think now people turn it into this whole like, "Oh, it's a bad thing. It's
Yeah.
negative," and or, it's demons
Yeah.
and bad, jujus, which sometimes it can be true.
Yeah.
Sometimes people will see these nawalis and, and have a different, reaction. Some people could get ill from, I guess, so to say, witnessing this, manifestation.
Mhm.
People can not be themselves anymore after. So, so it's yeah, I think you gotta be strong-minded when you witness something like that, or
Yeah.
strong-willed, or I don't know, but people definitely don't react the same after witnessing something like that.
Yeah. For us in the Anagloshis, originally it was used for good. One of the stories I was told is the medicinal people would have to go to do a certain ceremony, and the Navajo Nation is pretty big. So like we have four sacred mountains that pretty much border the Navajo Nation. So there's two in Colorado, one in New Mexico, and one in Arizona. So the medicinal people used to have to travel to each one of these mountains to gather. They would have to do a ceremony in the mountain, gather herbs and soil from there to be able to make a what we call a bundle. And in these ceremonies, you do that. And so the spiritual people taught us how to shapeshift like that, but it took a long time to learn how to do that. And so, originally was used for good. But,
Mhm.
you know how humans can be, like jealousy, darkness, evil, hatred, all that stuff
Yeah,
kind of comes out.
not
So,
all people are good people.
yeah, so it was one of those things that like an evil spirit came along to a darker person and taught them how to shapeshift a lot quicker. But there had to have been some sacrifices of a loved one, and they had to do that, and then also some really dark ceremonies to do with like the body and all that other stuff. They
Yeah.
had to go and kill an animal. So typically, normally around here, you have like the deer, you have coyotes, and those are the main two that you typically see. Good medicinal people used to be able to use mountain lions and bears and stuff like that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, there's even a jaguar out there, right? A couple of jaguars out in
I
Arizona. I don't
I've
know if that's
seen
near
like
your reservation, but
yeah, I've seen like pictures of like trail cams, like it was like southern Arizona, I think, like in the mountains and everything. There was a jaguar that
mm,
was sighted over there. I was like, oh shit, that's cool, you know.
yeah,
So yeah, but yeah, it's throughout time, like a lot of there's still very few people, medicinal people in the tribe that know how to do it in the good way. But with all the stuff that kind of happened in the reservation, as far as for like how you're talking about, like they used to force native people to go to church and all these different things, and was used in warfare, and even sometimes in between tribes too. They would use that for reconnaissance or all these other different things too. So it was more so of like in today's day and age, it's more used for dark, but there's definitely not as many as there used to be back in the day. But that's like one of those stories that like left the reservation and became something that it's not. So that's why
Mhm.
you would see like on TikTok like of a dog acting weird in Florida, and then they're like, it's a skinwalker. It'd be like, no, dude, that's not what that's not what
Yeah,
that
yeah.
is, kind
So
of
we
thing.
got a question here for you. Is there witchcraft or brujos in his tribe? Brujos is pretty. I don't know if you're familiar with that word, but it's just pretty much like uh person that I don't even know how to really describe it.
More so like witchcraft kind of thing,
Yeah,
or
that's what it
yeah,
is. But witchcrafting.
yeah. So yeah, we kind of have quite a few of those. It's always kind of like a running joke. Like if you go to a basketball game these days, and then in the tribe, and then say like you're the all-star player, the team's having a great game, but then like he goes and twists his ankle or something, like he gets hurt. Somebody says like, oh, there's probably a there's probably a witch in the crowd or something, that from the other team that witched him or something like that. But
Yeah,
kind of growing up doing with what my brother and did, like going against darkness and evil, there were people that would get sick and stuff. Like they would actually, they in our tribes and everything, the witchy people have like the abilities to shoot like bones inside of you. So like we have this one type of medicinal man that is called a sucker. So he'll like go, like he'll look in the crystal, he'll look at a certain part of your body if you're sick, and then like he'll suck it out. And I remember seeing this as a kid. It was wild. Like it was in my dad. He sucked out something out of him, and then he had like a fire that was right there, and he spit it out into the coals in the fire, and it was a human finger. And then like when it hit the ashes, it like curled up and stuff. So
yeah.
then there's like
Degraded.
bones. Yeah. And so like there was like bones and stuff that like they would take out of you and everything that evil people used to shoot inside people. So, you know,
It's funny that you say that about people kind of like shooting towards. I guess in Mexico there's a malo ojo, bad
mhm,
eye,
yeah.
which I think is to some extent is truth because it's crazy when you're minding your own business and somebody's actually like I guess what to say stalking you from a distance. Sometimes your energy, your spirit or your vibration senses that, and you look back and you see somebody looking at you, and they're you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I don't know
That's
if that's being having an intuition or whatever, but our our eyes are very powerful.
yeah. That's like
That's
something
what I'm
that
trying to
like
get at, you know?
it's like there's some people in the world that are just jealous, and they don't like you seeing doing better than them. They don't like you seeing doing good. And so there's a lot of jealousy out here in our reservation and stuff of like, oh, you got a new truck and everything. It's just like I'm struggling to pay bills, and so they'll go like and shoot something at you or something like that. So that's where you go to medicine man, and they'll help you out and stuff, kind of get that
Mhm.
stuff out of you, rebalance you and stuff like that. So yeah, so we definitely have witches in our tribe.
That's funny. That's well, it's not really funny, but I mean that's kind of crazy that there's some similarities amongst that, from
Yeah.
Mesoamerica to the next people, and it makes me wonder like what other indigenous groups is like ours, so to say,
Yeah.
like having this paranormal activity, and
Mhm.
using obviously the colonizer language, but just things that can't be really be explained in essence, but
Yeah,
it's like
that's
felt
like what
known,
like I
you know.
love that, like even just this conversation too, like I'm learning so much, but like there's still a lot of similarities with it too. And it's just like that's one thing that we learned kind of growing up is when we would help other tribes, we would collaborate with other, medicinal people from that tribe because, sometimes like our protections that we have in our tribe don't work against their evil spirits that they have. There's a certain type
Mhm.
of herb that you burn that only really works with those evil spirits from that tribe. So that's where you got to collaborate with those medicinal people and those healers to be able to be like, okay, if you're going to go against this, you're going to need this herb, you're going to need this stone, you're going to need this, type of thing to be able to defeat it, kind of thing. So it's always really interesting to be able to talk with different tribes and different people.
I got one of my longtime followers. He made a little comment here. What happened when all the aunties blow kisses at this guy? Just kidding.
I just block it and be like, nope.
Oh, yes,
Just trying to
you know,
dodge it
hard
like the
to
Matrix.
yeah, damn, bro. I seen you, having a smoke. That's the reason why I was chewing those nicotine gums. I can,
Oh, my bad
you're
if
messing with my vibe here. Nah, it's cool, it's cool. I have a strong addiction to smoking the white man's tobacco.
yeah.
Fortunately, man, like I wish I never had picked it up, but I picked it up out of ignorance.
Mhm.
I did know smoke prior to smoking it. I did know that it was unhealthy,
Yeah.
but I smoked it anyway because I was trying to like calm myself because I was having a
Mhm.
panic attack for the
Yeah.
a very first time at home,
Yeah.
and my pops was like, "Here, smoke some, like here, smoke some fucking cigarettes, like it'll calm me down."
Yeah.
And I was like, out of desperation, I was like, "Yeah," and I chain smoked like three of them bitches and passed out,
See, like,
and
for
that's
for
how my addiction began.
yeah, for our tribe and everything, it's interesting because like people would always say like you shouldn't smoke, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. It's just like, you know, and we have it under control to where like we only really smoke tobacco when we like are in a conversation like this or when we pray. Because
Mhm,
tobacco is one of our sacred medicines that we have. And the story that goes with it is when there are ceremonies and everything, when you're trying to pray and you have a hard time, I guess you can say, trying to find the words to express what's wrong with you, what you're feeling, and everything. They say in our stories, you would partake of that tobacco, it would go inside of you, and then it would see your spirit and everything that's inside of you. And so when you exhale and that smoke comes out, it disappears and goes into the spirit world. So, in a sense, when you pray with it, your prayer goes off into the spirit world, and the creator will know like what's wrong with you, and then that's how it was a medicine for us too and everything. But
yeah. I would
yeah, I'm
recall
guilty. I
that,
smoke I say I say I pray a lot, but in actuality sometimes I just use it to smoke.
yeah. Ilwika. It's like, I guess equivalent to the sky world to some indigenous groups.
Hmm.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that because it was kinda I thought it was kinda like, what? Like, you burning, and
Hmm.
sending out that message or energy out to the s to the sky world in essence. So
Yeah.
I thought it was kinda like, what? It's kinda
Yeah.
trippy there. Yeah.
Yeah.
It used to
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
just
It's
like
like,
similarities.
yeah, it's like what's cool is like a lot of our tribe and how we like live about our day and how we pray, it's like it's deals with a lot of cosmic stuff. Like this, we pray to the stars, we pray to the sun, we pray to the moon, everything that's around, like even our homesteads traditionally, they all face toward the east. That's when the sun comes up. So
Mhm.
all of our traditional households, they all face east like that, so they can welcome in the new day and everything too. So yeah, that's really interesting that you mentioned
Yeah. Talk about that.
that.
For my ancestors, when someone would pass away, we obviously have some similarities. They would always put the deceased with their feet aiming towards the east to the
Hmm.
rising sun, and then their head towards the west to the sunset. Not really sure what that symbolized, but it was a custom to do that. That
Yeah.
to And then after, like, I think 3 years or so, they unearthed their bones after the
Hmm.
mother ate their flesh, and cremate the bones.
Yeah.
But after cremating them, they would use it for medicine.
Hmm.
I don't know if you guys have something similar to that, or
No, not really. Like when it comes to funerals and stuff, it is very similar to where like they face the east like that too. So like when the sun comes up, the sun can take their spirit over into the star world and everything. Or when the moon comes up on the east side too as well, they can start their journey up there in the spiritual world. But yeah, that's really cool, dude. Like like it's just like even just like the facing of the east and the directions and everything. Like we're like hundreds of thousands of miles apart, but like that's all like very very similar to how our livelihoods are and everything.
yeah. I mean, now they don't do it, but I mean, before back when they
Mhm.
did, there was like codices that they talked about that.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, so we got a question right here. Do they take mushrooms? I don't know who's they, but I'm assuming your people.
Not really mushrooms, no. So like we do partake
Peyote,
of what was that?
peyote,
Yeah. So
peyote.
peyote, yeah. So that's something that we use for our Native American church ceremonies. So that's something that we got from you guys actually, I think. Down there and everything. So that's something that was incorporated, I would have to say maybe like a couple hundred years back, I would say. We traded with you guys and it started growing. I know somewhere in Texas too. Texas has some place where it grows naturally over there too. So, but we partake of that to kind of help out, like connect with the spirit world and stuff. So like psychedelics and everything too, but not
Mhm.
not anything like
So
shrooms or anything like that. But like that's one thing is just like when it comes to peyote and everything, there's always like that respect of it. There's always that respect of the medicine and then the healing aspects of it and all that stuff. So like, when people are always like, you smoke peyote or you eat peyote, kind of like in a joking manner, it's just like, we partake of it, but we do it in a sacred way, kind of
yeah,
thing. Yeah.
you know, I forgot who told me this, but supposedly it was said that like a I guess something equivalent to a priest
Hmm.
amongst the community, the indigenous community back when they would have the ball court.
Hmm.
Uh, that priest would consume teonanacatl, which is magic mushrooms, pretty much,
Yeah.
and so the priest would be like blown out of his mind, so to say,
Yeah.
and and watch these players play the ball game,
Hmm.
and and the ball was a representation of like Olin, which was like a movement, an
Hmm.
unpredictable movement, but he was watching it, and I guess he would kind of like prophesize of what will occur, and that's why sometimes I don't know about sometimes I don't know how mandatory it was, but the winners will get unalived.
Oh, wow.
Based on the vision of the priest.
Hmm.
So yeah, I thought it was yeah, psychedelics was a real thing in amongst Mesoamerica, man. Like
Yeah.
that shit was like wonders in essence at the time.
Mhm. And that's like one of those things is like, those natural medicines that are like that were put on this earth for a reason. And it's to, a lot of it is never really used recreationally in a tribe. There's some people that do partake of like mushrooms and stuff recreationally and stuff, but like ceremonial wise, we live in a desert, so it's just like, it's just not the right climate for mushrooms or anything like that. So it's we would partake of that to to heal us and everything. And my grandfather, he's a herbologist, and so he knows like a lot of different medicines and stuff. And so he would tell me stories of like when he got I think it was like pancreatic, his pancreas exploded one time and he had to go into surgery and stuff.
Mhm.
And so but his grandfather or grandmother made him that peyote medicine like that, and they said drink this and pray with it and it'll heal you. And sure enough, like within a week, everything healed up, everything was good like that. So there's a lot of healing properties with if used the right way, like
Yeah,
these psychedelics can really help out somebody.
yeah. I mean, for me, I'm a very strong believer of like consuming what your people consumed for
Hmm.
hundreds of thousands of years,
Yeah.
um, to get the most benefits from healing of
Hmm.
certain methods. That's why I I'm a strong believer on that. To
Yeah.
consume what your people eat.
It's in your
Because I think we get sick because we fucking obviously process food
Mhm.
and all these things that was foreign to us, foreign to our people.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times it's because of that reason we get sick.
Yeah.
That we.
It's a
But
lot of like you build up a tolerance for things and it ends up going in like your genetic code. So like when you
mhm,
reproduce, you have children, they're already gonna have that in their bloodline and everything too. So I agree with that too.
yeah. All right, so we got another question here. Oh yeah, statics. I don't know how you feel about it, bro, but I'm gonna say anyway. So Statics is actually half white, half indigenous too.
Oh, nice.
So that's why he asked that question at the
Yeah.
beginning.
That's cool.
Uh, he's so why when Navajo elders say bilag I don't know how to pronounce that, bro.
Bilagana.
Bilagana
Yeah.
to children, they freak out. I see some cry.
So I guess that's more so of like an older thing, like it was one of those things. It's just like Bilagana in the Navajo language means like white man, so it's like one of those things, but Bilagana coming, like white man coming. And so it's kind of like a boogeyman kind of thing to make you kind of
Yeah, I
fear
was
white
gonna say
people. Yeah.
that. A little boogeyman thing going on.
Yeah, yeah. So it's just like one of those things. It's just like it's more of an I remember that happened a couple times, but then my mom would get mad at them and she would be like, "Hey, they're half white. Don't be saying that.
Yeah,
Don't make them
yeah,
fear their father," kind of thing. Yeah.
there's a little something similar to like that amongst the Mexican. I don't know if where the heck or I never searched the origin of it, but we say kukui,
Hmm.
which is like I guess equivalent to a boogeyman. Like it's little like oh he's gonna get you, he's gonna get
Yeah.
you. Like I don't know if that's where's the origin of that, but be interesting to find out that if it came from an indigenous,
It's just like one of
origin or
those
whatnot.
things to freak out kids and make sure they don't step out of line, kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah. Is that how Bilagana is used or?
Sometimes, yeah. Like I'm more so in the older days, but like nowadays, like if it's like within the tribes, they say like they say "Yi ya man," like "Yi ya man" is like "Yi ya" means scary, and
Mhm.
it's more so of like of an evil, darker spirit. So "Yi ya man" is like a manifestation of fear and darkness itself. So like parents will say that yeah man is gonna get you if you don't go to bed right now or something like that. Or if, like
Yeah.
you stay out past night, yeah man's gonna get you, so stay inside kind of thing.
Give me a moment. I'm gonna step aside for a second, but
Cool.
continue sharing, bro. Sorry
No,
about this.
no worries, man. No worries, man. So hello everybody. I am here. I'm gonna have a smoke. Gonna continue on. So I used to kind of hear like a lot of things that would happen in my life like this. So, you know, growing up half definitely had its things, I guess you can say. So, static, I pretty sure you know the whole story and spiel about being half and growing up like that, but it's you find the right friends, and both I guess you can say following and stuff. So, yeah, man. So I have a lot of native friends, a lot of white friends, a lot of friends from all sorts of different ethnicities.
All right. Also, the reason why I had to step aside for is because I was looking for a cigarette.
It's all good, man.
I was eating these red vines, trying to calm my urges, and I had given in. So that's the
Yeah,
only reason why I stepped aside.
it's a holy time right now. It's a holy conversation we're having.
Yeah. Uh, is there? Do you have any questions for me? If anything, I think I've asked
Mm,
you a couple already, and
so, what part of California are you from again?
well, I'm in the southern-ish
Yeah.
California. Like it's Central Coast. You
Mhm.
know, we say we're from Southern Cali, but we're just like borderline.
Yeah. So, do you
But
like?
yeah, I'm from Santa Barbara,
Mhm.
California,
Oh,
which is
nice.
uh, which is it's where one of the missions. Have you ever heard of the missions that were being built throughout the side of
Yeah.
California?
Yeah.
Yeah, so where I'm from, there's a mission there, and it belonged to I don't even know this clan's name, but they're Chumash, but I
Mhm.
think they're Barbayo or something like that. Chumash, and then there's like the Mountain Chumash in Santa Ynez,
Yeah.
and several types of. Well, they're all the same, but I mean different. Like how you were
Yeah.
saying clans.
Yeah.
So
That's cool.
yeah, that's where I'm from,
Oh,
and I'm gonna
One
tell you
thing,
though, bro. Like most of them, they don't. They look Mexican as fuck to me,
yeah,
but they're not. You know, like what it.
yeah.
It's crazy. It's yeah, because they're one of the nations, that was a part of like Nueva España,
Mhm.
and then Mexico, and then now United States. It's
Yeah.
like the identity. It's like crazy. I mean, I imagine it to be, at least for the most part. How did you? I was gonna say, how did you grow up, bro? Like, did you? How would you consider it to the way of living that you grew up?
So I grew up mainly in a border town. So the border town is pretty much like right along the edge of the reservation and stuff. So I grew up in a place called Winslow, Arizona, and went to school there and everything like that. We have schools and stuff on the reservations and all that, but they're not really that good. And we really moved here because my father's work. He works on the railroad and stuff. So there's a depot that's inside of that town. So that's where he used to work out of. So growing up there and everything, used to go back and forth between there and the reservation and stuff. So, my great grandmother's homestead was only like an hour and a half away, our homeland and all that stuff where we come from specifically in the Navajo Nation. So, kind of, I guess, small town, really, really small town vibes is where I
Yeah,
grew up. It's one of those things. It's just like, it was always very interesting to go back and forth between the reservation and home because, like, where we live, we had electricity and plumbing, but like
mhm.
over on the reservations, there's a lot of families that don't have like electricity or running water. So that's like I do
Just like El
YouTube and
Pueblo.
yeah. So it's just like I do YouTube and stuff, but like I still have a main job, which is in the solar industry. So like that's why I got into the solar industry, was to kind of help out native tribes to get solar
Help
and
people in need.
everything.
Yeah,
Yeah. So that's in a sense why I got into solar and everything. So you would go out there and it's just like the way you think of lifestyle is completely different compared to Western lifestyle. It's like out there you don't really have to worry about work or rent or bills, social media, anything like that. It's just survival, I guess you can say. It's just everyday
yeah.
life. We
Oh,
have life.
I'm familiar with that because, like, in my pueblo, for a very long time, our roads are dirt roads, bro. Like,
Mhm,
there wasn't very many cars. Now it has improved a lot.
mhm,
At least, there's a lot of streets with pavement, but there's a lot of houses without irrigation, like plumbing and
mhm.
electricity, and
Yeah,
then a lot of the times they use generators,
yeah,
gas generators. So it's crazy how you say survival because, yeah, you don't have to worry about like bills and all that shit, but
yeah,
like you have to farm, like,
mhm,
your land,
yeah,
and whatever you harvest, you sell it to the big cities, I guess, and to make a
mhm,
little bit of pesos. Obviously, this is a lot. Value is a lot less than the dollar.
yeah,
So yeah, it's just crazy, man. That's
yeah,
like some of these my people pretty much would work a whole day, would be like I don't know, worth $10 to $15,
yeah,
like, for the whole day.
yeah.
So it's
That
crazy, man. Like,
that's what's
when you say
interesting.
survival, it reminded me of my people.
Yeah, because it's like how my great grandmother, she used to make a living. She used to make rugs. So, she used to get the wool and everything from our livestock, which was sheep. That's what the main livestock is for Navajo Nation because there's not a lot. They don't eat much. They just let them graze and stuff. We had some cattle and horses too. But typically cattle kind of eat a lot more and everything like that. So when you have sheep, you can have more and you can use the wool and stuff after too. So, that was like one of those things. It's just like, okay, like you get up, you let out the animals, then you go chop wood if it's winter time, or you get breakfast started, or all those different things. It's just like as the day goes on, you go get the sheep, bring them back in the
Yeah.
corral kind of thing, and bring them back home.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, that's I'm telling you, describing like how my village is.
Hmm. That's really cool, man. Because it's just like, and then like you go, you wash your hands in like we would go haul water at like a well or something.
Hello?
Come, come. Can you hear
Hold
me?
on, I'm having some complications.
Oh no.
What?
Cool. Can you hear me? I can hear you. Yeah.
Hello,
Test
hello?
test. Hello, hello. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I can hear you.
Or now I can hear you.
Okay, cool, cool. Sweet.
Yeah, yeah, my bad. It's yeah, it reminds me of my people, how my people
Mhm.
lives. It has improved, but it's 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 not a reservation. It's
Yeah,
just a neglected village by Mexico government. It's
yeah,
countryside of
yeah.
Mexico.
And
So
that's like one of the things is like on the reservation, it's kind of more rocky terrain and stuff. So we're a sovereign nation, so we have like our own government, police force, and everything too. How everything works. So it's like whatever happens is really up to us and on us, kind of thing. Like we do have some outside sources that come in and help sometimes and everything, but like it's literally our own people that have to go run the power lines and stuff. And if they do that, it's expensive to run power lines out there because
mhm.
it's such treacherous, mountainous, rocky terrain to get all that stuff out there. So, you go from that, washing your hands in a pail of water that you hauled water like 30, 40 minutes from a well, you come back, you have that water jugs, wash your hands in a pail of water, cook with that. It's kind of funny because like, soda we joke around. It's just like we would drink soda and stuff like that. That was more easily available compared to water. So like if you got thirsty, you would drink a soda because it's just like you got to ration out your water because it's harder to get water than it is to get soda out there and everything.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. That sucks, bro. That's
yeah,
that's terrible.
yeah.
But I
So
get
but
it though.
yeah,
It's something similar to, like I said, so my parents are from that pueblo. I did
mhm,
go over there when I was younger and stuff like that. So I got to see when it was like the dirt road still.
yeah,
We started to get pavement to like around late 2000s
yeah,
before or early 2010 and stuff. So a few years back. And yeah, I mean, I was a little boy. I saw everything was a fun to me, you know what I mean? Like I was a
yeah.
little boy, I didn't really know
It
very
was
much,
funny
but
because like you really growing out there and then not having like technology or anything, you really grow your imagination. So like me
yeah,
and my cousins, whenever they would go out there visit my great grandmother as well, like we would play like reenact Lord of the Rings or Star Wars, with sticks and rocks and stuff, and like go into the ditches or the canyons and like
yeah, yeah,
reenact
yeah, yeah.
movies and stuff and just have fun
Just
like that.
getting into some shit, pretty
Yeah.
much. Yeah,
Like
those are great times, great memories because at least I don't think a lot of the youth is experiences that,
mm,
and at least within you. Well, I don't know. Maybe within your reservation, it still occurs, and then obviously in the countryside of Mexico, still
mhm.
occurs. But I mean, like within the city, I don't think it very occurs anymore.
Yeah. It's like it's hard to pull away a kid from an iPad these days that lives in the city
Hmm.
or has access to it and all that. But you
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
that's like one thing I love is like being able to use and create your own world in your imagination is I think what is honestly kind of missing sometimes in like a lot of creativity and stuff, being able to exercise that. Because like
yeah,
you're given an iPad, there is no creativity, you just you play with what you're given, you don't have to think about it because it's already in your hands
yeah,
kind of thing. So, I
yeah,
I,
yeah,
I, I
yeah, yeah.
feel really blessed, growing up like that and everything to be able to have,
How old are
those
you, if you don't mind me asking?
27.
Oh, yeah, I'm 35, bro.
We're not that far apart.
Yeah, 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 yeah. We're not definitely. All right, so we've been at it for an hour and 50, nearly 15 minutes. I
Hell yeah.
mean, I usually just kind of let the guests know, like, hey, like, are we done, or are we gonna want to keep on going?
It's up to you, man. Like,
Yeah,
like it's I ain't got nothing to do.
yeah,
I
yeah.
set time for this, so it's like it's up to you, man.
Well, honestly, I have some of my family over, and I kind of want to see my nephew, give him
Dude,
his hug and stuff like that. So
like I completely
I,
understand, man. Hell yeah,
so
dude.
I want to go out there, spend some time with him for a bit.
Hell yeah.
But I really enjoyed our conversation. I thought it was great,
Yeah, man.
and I subscribe to your YouTube channel, and obviously I'm following you on Instagram.
Yeah.
I'm not so active on TikTok, but I do have some TikTok stuff, but I'm not really all that active on there anymore.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm kind of like that too with TikTok. Like it's like if I have a video, I'll post it, but like if not, like I'll follow you on everything too, man. Like thank you so much for this conversation and just
yeah, man, it was
this is,
very interesting.
this is our first time meeting each other and everything too. Like we just found each other like 2 days ago, so it's just like it's awesome to be able to meet you, man. So if I ever go to
Yeah,
California,
yeah,
man,
yeah.
I'll hit you up and we should hang out, man.
Yeah, I'm down. Definitely, most definitely, I'm down for that.
Like yeah, bro.
All right,
Cool.
brother. Well, I'm gonna let you go. Let the public go. If you got any words of wisdom or anything you want to say.
Just love each other, love your life, love your loved ones, and spread happiness and joy because we're here on this earth for a short amount of time and let's all love each other.
Yeah, I agree. I
Cool,
agree.
cool.
All right, see ya,
Awesome.
everybody. See y'all later.
Cool. Later, man.